You know, one of the most dangerous fires that we learned about as a firefighter are the kind of fires that tend to sneak up on you, especially like in mountain areas like Colorado and Oregon and various places in Canada, and I could even be in Australia, but usually they're in mountain areas. It's called a duff fire. Yep, it's a real word. Look it up, a duff fire.
Welcome to Leading Leaders Podcast, 5-minute videos, 5 days a week.
I'm Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast. Here's the most dangerous thing about a duff fire. A duff fire is the one that burns usually where there's a lot of fallen timber, there's a lot of leaves, there's a lot of foliage. And when it burns, the first time you'll see it burn over the surface, and then maybe it'll burn itself out because of snowfall, or it'll burn itself out because of rain, or it'll be fought out by the firefighters. But what happens a lot of times is there will be a small valley, and it doesn't even have to be a giant valley, just a crevice that's several feet deep. And the heat and the coal from the embers will get in the bottom of that crevice and continue to smolder for literally decades. Well, what you think is a fire that's burned out is actually a fire that's still burning, but because it doesn't have any oxygen, it's just a bunch of heat, a bunch of coals like you would find in your fireplace. You know, sometimes you blow on the coals in the fireplace and it reignites into a fire. Well, sometimes in a duff fire, what you have is what looks like just a valley filled with foliage, with fallen leaves and timbers and rotting tree limbs. And then something comes along. Maybe it's an animal, maybe it's wind, maybe it's a bulldozer that is clearing land, and it opens up this crevice where these coals have been burning. Some of them are decades old. I've heard of some as old as a century old, where the fires have been burning there, but you can't really get to them to put them out without making them bigger. So they control them, they watch them, they look out for them, but you can't do much about them without exposing them. And when you expose them, now you have another wildfire you have to deal with. But a duff fire has another similarity in the life of a leader. Lies, deception, fraud, corruption, they're like a duff fire. See, when you betray people, when you lie to people, when you're disloyal to people, when you cheat your relationships or cheat on your taxes or cheat on your business practices, all of those things are like a duff fire. They're under the surface. Not everyone sees them. Most people don't even know they're there. Most people wouldn't even know the harm that they might bring. But then suddenly, out of nowhere, it seems, a pastor is arrested for trafficking teen girls. A business, like a gigantic company, is all brought down by illegal business practices. People are arrested for practicing a business over international ways and ways they didn't know was wrong. But all those deceptions, all those little ideas, politicians and law enforcement brought down for corruption. And you have to ask yourself, did it just happen one time? Was this the only event in which this happened? Well, probably not. In fact, chances are there's more to that duff fire than even you see right now. There's more going on in their deception and their lies and their ability to manipulate people. Narcissists are really good at covering themselves and shifting the blame to others. It's kind of like that sleight of hand. Don't look at me and what I'm doing right or wrong or otherwise. Look over there and look over there and look over there. And so it takes a moment to figure out what they're doing. But here's an absolute fact. Truth is a lot like a duff fire. It's going to come out. It's going to reveal itself. And if you're not out in front of it, if you're not prepared for that revelation, if you're not prepared for that truth to come out, then it's probably going to consume you. It's going to destroy you. Just look back over the last 3 to 5 years. How many Harvey Weinsteins and Matt Lauers and Jeffrey Epsteins have been revealed for bad behavior that's been going on for decades? And now it's coming to surface. Now it's coming to light. Things that were bad enough then, but the fact that they've been buried for decades and other people are now complicit in the burying of those bad ideas, that's bad stuff. But there are people who are trafficked in plain sight. I was just reading an article this morning about a woman who got pregnant in college, had to drop out, etc., etc. Her whole story is all over the web these days, but she's busy helping others overcome this same challenge and trying to find ways to prevent, just by awareness, this kind of stuff happening. But it's still happening. If you've ever asked yourself the question, will somebody find out about X? Let me encourage you as a leader right now to go back to X and dig it up and put that fire out yourself. Go back to the places where you've crossed the path, where you've crossed the line, where you've done things that you're not proud of, and make amends. Do everything you can to straighten it out. Apologize where you need to. Make recompense where you need to, where you can. But don't let these things sit in your life and pretend they're going to stay hidden, because, my friend, the truth will reveal itself. I'm Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast for Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day.
Subscribe now for our extensive video library of leadership lessons promoting faith, family, and freedom.